I don't want to have to want your recovery more than you want it yourself. So that's the hard part for me. You got to want this. I don't want it. I got mine. You need to get yours. So what are you going to do it?
Welcome to Unseen Atlanta, an Atlanta Mission podcast. We believe storytelling has the power to shift perspectives and spark change. Each episode will bring you a powerful story from a member of the Atlanta Mission community. I'm your host, Rachel, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jonathan.
This season, we're focused on what it really means to invest in Atlanta. Our guest today is Avis Jones, a client advocate at My Sister's House. Rachel, today we talked with Miss Avis. She works specifically with clients on the addiction recovery track.
She does. And I think that the biggest theme I got from her is that she really truly sees these clients past their addiction, past their past, and sees them for who God created them to be and who they are going to be in the future. So
it's beautiful.
It's so beautiful. I hope you enjoy this conversation with Miss Avis as much as we did. We're so happy today. We have Miss Avis, who is on staff here at Atlanta Mission. She's actually one of our most requested guests. A lot of the clients who we've had on last season and this season have just talked so highly of you, Miss Avis. And so we're glad that you are here to kind of tell your story and tell about what you do at Atlanta Mission. So thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Your background?
My name is Avis. I am from Georgia. I'm from Dalton, Georgia.
Okay.
And
isn't that like the carpet
capital of the world?
Yeah, it's north.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Carpet capital of the world. I was raised in a two-parent home. My dad passed in November. My mom passed in December of last year.
Wow. Oh, so you had a tough year.
I am in recovery, in long-term recovery. I love it. Once I got clean and realized what I wanted to do in life, I wanted to be able to help people that were like me, which was recovering addicts or an addict.
So when did you get clean?
Oh, my Lord.
Is that too hard of a question?
Well, it's been so long.
Okay,
I don't keep, to be honest, I don't keep up with it.
Okay.
I know a lot of people, they do. Thank you, Jesus, for another year. And
So what got you to the point of knowing you needed to do that?
I got tired of going to prison. I got tired of going to jail. I was tired. I was going nowhere. I didn't want my mom and my dad to die and me still being out there on the streets being an addict. And somebody had asked me, if you die, what are they going to say about you at your eulogy? What are people going to say? What did you do? And I thought about that. What are they going to say? Come up, somebody lie. Yes, was I a good daughter at the time? No. Was I a good sister or sister? No, because I have two siblings. No, I wasn't.
So what led you to your addiction? Being
a follower, to be honest with you. I wanted to be a part of the people or the people that I hung out with. I wanted to be a part of those people. So they drank, they used. I started using when I was 21.
So you have a lot of lived experience then.
Yes.
Which obviously probably helps in your job.
It does, because I am very upfront, transparent with my ladies. I mean, when I say transparent, I'm transparent with them. It helps them to relate. It helps them to know that they're not the only one. Because a lot of them, when they come in, they're ashamed and embarrassed of the things that they've done in their life to survive, and they're in survival mode. So with me sharing my story with them, it lets them know that, hey, I'm not the only one, and I tell them, you can do what I'm doing. Whatever you've lost, if you believe and trust in God and have faith in Him, He will give it all back to you, twice as much. I'm so transparent with them. I'm so real.
So you got sober, and then you knew you wanted to work in recovery.
Yes, I did work in recovery. I was for 8 years, I worked for a company called Bradford Health Services.
Okay.
And they moved me from Chattanooga to Augusta and to work in the crisis. Well, I would go out at somebody get a call at 12 o'clock to go to the hospital, or I might get a call at 1 o'clock to meet somebody at the office, which I never went by myself.
And were those people who were like ready to?
Most of the time, family members were bringing them, wanted someone to talk to them.
Okay.
And I even worked with kids that were cutters. It was a lot. Sometimes you have people that were ready to do it, and then there was some that just wasn't.
So then how did you end up in Atlanta?
Well, I got tired of Augusta, to be honest with you. I was like, I got to go. So me and my husband, and when we moved to Atlanta, we was actually homeless. Because when we moved, we just moved.
Okay. Moved
So
everything.
we moved
Had
everything.
nowhere to stay.
We got my husband, he's a vet, so he was able to go through the VA to get housing.
Okay.
So we were able to get housing there. And then I worked at the airport. My husband had worked actually here, at the mission, doing through temporary service, cleaning out some stuff that needed to be done. So he said, you ought to try to get a job there. He said, it's a real nice, Christian place. And so I did. I put in my application, and Christy and the other young lady you just mentioned, Nadine, they called me, they interviewed me. I told them about me being in recovery and all of that stuff, and I got the job.
And that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about your journey since being in Atlanta. You've done a lot of different things.
I've done a lot of things.
Because you didn't always start. Right now, you're a client advocate working with women in the recovery track.
Yes. When I first started, I was in personal development program. I was doing their admissions. I talked to their parole officers, their probation officers, whatever, because we had a lot of people at that time coming from the jails.
Okay.
And I did their paperwork. I made sure that they were actually meeting our requirements. Mm-hmm. And I went from there. I got sick for a while. I had to take about 4 or 5 months off. And when I came back, I worked up under Leilani. Mm-hmm. Then I went from VTA to working up under Miss Julie. And that's when I transported the ladies from my sister's house to Ethel Street.
Yeah, the day shelter
at the time. The day shelter at the time,
that
yes.
was before we had Restoration House.
Yes.
And so they were having to come back and forth because no one could stay there every day.
No, they had to be out by 8 and they could come back at 4. And so then I would bring them back there. And then, but in between time, I was picking up donations, driving a box truck.
So then how did you land in the spot of being a client advocate?
Kim Livinsley.
Yeah.
Yeah. She had asked me if I wanted to, she asked me if I wanted to be a peer specialist, which I am a certified peer specialist. And I've always wanted to be a peer specialist.
What does that mean?
Certified peer specialist is mental health.
Okay.
I can go in and it's like a buddy.
Okay.
Basically for the peer specialist. And I was
So you're not like a clinician, but you're okay. I guess
I'm working on that one.
Okay, I said hence the word peer specialist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're someone with shared experience.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so do you have to be, if you're going to be a peer specialist, do you have to have been in recovery?
You have to have some kind of experience, either mental health, recovery, have to be on medication. They want you to be like he said, shared experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then from there, you're doing peer specialist.
I was able to go to a week's classes and become a certified peer specialist.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's great.
And I am now working on being a CAC in training, which is a certified addiction counselor in training.
Amazing.
That's great.
It is
super valuable.
Mm-hmm.
That is. You should be really proud of yourself.
I am, and it's like I've always wanted to do counseling. I've always wanted to work in recovery, always, because I wanted to give back.
And you're doing that work now.
Yes, I am.
We talk a lot about like there's a recovery track and a non-recovery track at my sister's house. What does that look like?
I have both.
Okay.
So
so you do both.
I do both. I
Okay.
have ladies that are on my caseload, which are in recovery.
Okay.
And then I have ladies that are on my caseload that's not in recovery. It's different. My recovery ladies, they have requirements. They have to get a sponsor. They have to work the first 3 steps with me. They have to attend 3 meetings a week. And they can't be done. They have to do a meeting a day. They can't do 2 meetings at one time.
Okay.
Okay.
And these meetings are with you or?
No, they
with
go outside meetings.
Like an AA,
AA or NA, yes. Okay. AA or NA. And they go outside meetings. They have to have their sheet signed, bring it back to me on Monday. We do the spiritual development also, but I use more like the spiritual principles behind each step, which come from the Bible: open-mindedness, willingness, trust. And it's all in the Bible. That's what the Bible teaches us. So we do the spiritual principles.
Are you the only advocate that's in the recovery track?
Yes.
Okay. So it kind of depends on at the time. How do they determine whether someone needs to be on that or not?
Well, see, they come from Restoration House, and they will say, "Hey, this person needs recovery."
Okay.
Is
it are they having to self-identify that they need recovery? Okay, because I know when we were talking to Candy, she mentioned that she was talking to you, and you're like, "No, you're an addict," and she's like, "No, I'm not."
Yeah.
So are you helping them kind of get to that point where they're like, I know I need this?
I like I said, I'm an open book, and I'm honest with them, like 100%. And Candace was in denial more than anything. She was in denial. And so as we talked, when we met, because I meet with them twice a week.
Okay.
So the more we talked and the more I listened to her, and I asked her to listen to herself, and she'd come back the next week. She said, "You know what? I am an addict." I was like, okay. I mean, I tell them I already knew what you know. I was just waiting on you to, the bell to go off in your head that you are. Yeah. And I told her, I said, we're always the last to know. We are always the last to know that, hey, we got a problem. Everybody else around us know, but we're the last to know because we don't want to think that way.
You probably have those moments all the time where you're just waiting for your clients to come to that realization. What does it feel like for you being sort of a guide in their journey when they finally have that light bulb moment? What is that like?
It is. I love it, to be honest with you. I love it because at that time, we're both smiling, we're hugging, and they're saying, you know what, you said this, and I thought about what you said, Miss Avis. Every time I leave out of your office, I think what you, think about what you've told me. I give them homework so that they can write things to see for themselves. Because when you write stuff, you reread it, and it gives them something to think about. So I love it. I love it. I love from the time they come in until time to go to JSW, the growth that they have. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you know when somebody comes in on the recovery track? I'm sure since you've been doing this a very long time, how do you know that they're ready to actually do it? Can you tell?
Like I said, I'm honest. I'm 100%
Well, I know
honest,
you are because there's been a lot of people on the podcast who've talked about you. And some haven't, they're like, we didn't like Miss Avis at first. But I think they felt like you were reflecting themselves back to them. And then that became such a gift for them. But at first, we don't like that.
Yeah. And I don't want to have to want your recovery more than you want it yourself. So that's the hard part for me because I'm like, yeah, come on, you can do this.
You see their potential.
Yeah. And it's like, wait a minute, you're wanting their recovery more than they're wanting it. So sometimes I just be honest with them. And, when they come and see me in my office, I do the basics. And once they see, okay, Miss Avis ain't talking to me and doing like she used to do. And they would ask, they said, well, Miss Avis, why you just, I said, because you got to want this. I don't want it. I got mine. You need to get yours. So what are you going to do it? We put them on 30-day contracts. They can't go off the property unless they're going to meetings if they use, some of them have relapse as they call it. And I know I just know. And because all I asked the question because I can tell when someone's not being honest. And I don't know if it's because I've lied so much in my addiction and it just some goes from my top of my head to the bottom of my feet. And I'll be like, so when last time you used? And they was like, Miss Avis, I ain't used. I said, okay. But tell me when last time you used. And then they just use it. Okay, Miss Avis. I used those such and such a day. And I have to explain to her, well, your clean time starts over. I need you to pick up another white chip. And they have to be humble at that time. Because it's humbling to be then picked up a 60-day chip 1 week and then have to go back and pick up a white chip because you messed up. But, I still love them through it. I love them through it.
Yeah, how do you balance that, like, being totally honest, but they know that you are doing this because you care about them? How do you balance those two things? I
tell them all the time, when they do milestones, I tell them how proud I am. I have to watch myself and how I react because I don't want anybody. I am their friends, but I'm also staff. Okay, so I have to watch those boundaries, and I let them know that they do me a favor. I don't do favors. I'm sorry. I don't. And that's what I'll tell them. They'll say, I ain't got no cigarettes. I'm sorry, baby. I can't. And so it's the boundaries. Me and my recovery ladies, and I could say, well, my recovery ladies, because I love them. We have boundaries.
Yeah.
And then with the other ladies, we have boundaries. I don't want to say I'm hard, but I'm stern. Because I always feel that if I'd have had the sternness coming up, then maybe I wouldn't have went on the track that I did. So I'm stern. My sponsor was stern with me. She didn't just tell me a bunch of stuff just to get her off, get me away, or tell me what she thought. No, she listened, and if I was wrong, she corrected me on it.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing I do with my ladies.
How do you protect yourself? Sounds like boundaries is one way you do that, but you talked about you can't want recovery more than they want it. I can see, like, for myself, that hurting. Like, there's a lot of potential for me to feel that hurt in my heart, right? How do you protect yourself in your day-to-day?
I've cried with them. We prayed, we've hugged and cried, but for me, I just have to, I pray and ask God to help me. Because I don't want to go home with this. I like sleeping at night. And I have, when I first started, I'm up all night thinking about this client and if they're going to make it or what's going, but I just pray and ask God to allow me to be the vessel He wants me to be and not to take on stuff that's not mine. Because I'm there to show them and to lead them.
I'm sure it's hard to not get too attached, too. Because
that is very hard.
There's you see so many people come through, and you've been here 10 years. You've seen so many people come through. I'm sure that's also hard because you can get attached.
You can.
They're very attached to you.
Yeah, they are.
And so I'm sure it's hard when they leave. So how do you balance that? Because I know community is so important for us. But a lot of times with the people we serve, we had Michael Shepard on the podcast, and he talked about how he sent a paper around to like 20 guys and asked them for their emergency contact information. Who was their emergency contact? And like 18 of them put him down.
Wow.
And so he was like, it was a wake-up call for me of they haven't had these safe relationships in their life. They're feeling this love and connection to me. But once they leave here, they can't just keep calling me.
Right.
So how do you balance that? Because I'm sure it's very similar with the work you're doing.
Along with recovery, once the ladies get clean enough, or we'll say their mind is not as foggy as it was, they start talking about family members.
Okay.
They start talking about their relationships with their mom or whoever. At some point, they'll call,
Try to reconnect.
And most of the time, it's been good. I know with Candace, she told me she was so happy. She said, Miss Avis, I talked to my mom. It took her a while because every time she called, her brother would hang up the phone. So she finally got through and she was happy. So now I told her, I said, well, why don't you just call your mom every Sunday at a certain time? Make sure it's that certain time, that same time every Sunday. And that's what she does. So they are building a relationship. And that's what I do with my clients. I tell them now, especially because we have to forgive and we have to realize that we was out there too. And you can't just blame the people that was out there and you're using drugs and you can't blame your family because we all played a part. So, and I would just ask them, what part did you play? You know, even if it was as small as a pinhead, you played a part. And we have to forgive, and we don't forgive for the other people. We forgive for ourselves. And so that has helped several of them reconnect, even if it's just to call and say hello and have a conversation. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you use that tool of consistently doing it at the same time every week because they probably haven't had a lot of consistent things in their lives.
They haven't.
And their family members are not used to them being consistent.
And I tell them, they're not going to be okay to hear from you right off the bat, but just continue and say, hey, I don't want anything. I'm just calling to see how you're doing. I'm just checking on you. You don't have to ask for nothing. And regardless to what they say, you listen because you're not the only one that was hurt throughout your addiction. They were hurt also.
I'm curious, in your work, working with women in addiction, what are some of the big aha moments or maybe mind shift, perspective shifts that need to happen for someone to actually make progress with you?
They have to admit to themselves that they are an addict, that they have an issue with the alcohol or the drugs. Because a lot of them think that, well, they sell alcohol, it's still a drug. It's liquid dope for us. And the thing about it is, it's like, well, I wasn't doing my drug of choice, but you will be because the alcohol, all it's going to do is lead you back. So the two ladies that did relapse, that was an aha moment for them. That was a real aha moment for them because they was like, well, we didn't know.
Taking that first step of admission that this is something that
you have, yes, that you can't be in denial in recovery. You can't. You won't make it.
Do you use the 12 steps in your, like with the ladies? Okay.
We do a 12-step program.
Okay.
And the meetings, the NAAA meetings are 12 steps. Yeah. Yes.
For our listeners, if they have someone who is struggling with addiction in their lives, what advice would you give them about walking alongside someone who's struggling with it? Don't
be the enabler.
That feels very Miss Avis to say.
Yeah. Don't be the enabler. You can't make them go. And if they go, what are they going to get out of it if they don't want to go?
Right.
When they hit their bottom, and everybody hits their bottom regardless, because we only have 3 choices: jails, institutions, and death. So those are the 3 choices that we as addicts have. So they can just help them the best you can, but don't be an enabler. Don't allow them to walk over you. Don't bring no drugs in my house. And if necessary, you might have to put them out. You might have to put them in the street for them to, just pray and ask God to watch over them as they're out there. But you can't live here. You can't,
It's so hard to not enable too.
It is, but if you really love your family member and you see from the time they weren't using until now, you see the difference in the downfall. So, at some point, and especially if you've been giving money, enabling this, that, and the other, you should see that what you're doing is not helping. And if you have boundaries in your house, and if you allow a family member to come in and just break those boundaries and then you're enabling. You can ask, hey, would you like to go to treatment to get some help? And if they say no, okay, well, these are your choices. You can go to the shelter, go to a treatment facility, or be on the streets, but you can no longer live in my house.
Yeah. I love your just honesty of honesty is love, not honesty is cruelty.
No.
How do you see past people's decisions and circumstances and see them for who they are?
Because I tell them that if you're steady looking back at your past, is all you can see is your past, then you'll never get into your future. And, it's always like with Candy, well, this is what I used to, but you used to do. You're clean now. So let's not, we have the trauma, but we're going to get past it, but we don't have to continue to relive it in our future, because you're not going to get anywhere. So, and I just tell them, it's up to you. If you want to continue in your recovery and live a long, happy life, then this is what you need to do. You got to deal with those issues because they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
They're not.
Well, and I think because we've heard several people talk about you, it sounds like you have it's like Miss Avis glasses where you can look at them and see them for who they are.
I do. And it's just.
And that feels like a gift that you have.
I see them as ladies, and I always say we ladies, and that ain't you, because I have a young lady now, and I said, this is not you. You don't even know who you are. So what we gonna do? I'm willing to walk through this situation with you. I'm willing to help you and guide you to become the person that you are. Okay, I said, and then from there you allow God to do the rest. But the main thing is you got to be willing. They have to be willing. And I have deep conversations. My ladies, they know I'm not. And I do it, and I tell them all the time, it's out of love.
Mm-hmm. Well, they definitely feel it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just a lesson for all of us. Like the basic needs of our heart is to feel known and seen by somebody. Mm-hmm. And I think what you do for so many people every day is you make them feel known and seen.
I do. I try to make sure that they are not that they know they're not the only ones.
Well, and that can change the trajectory of someone's life. Mm-hmm. Like just having one person who believes in them can totally change. And I think we have felt that even in our few conversations and I hope you feel that, that you have totally changed the trajectory of people's lives.
Yes.
Just by seeing them.
Just by seeing them, listening to them, and letting them know that they're not the only one and that they are loved.
That's amazing. I hope that you guys got to experience the Miss Avis that we've heard about a lot. She's incredible. And I hope you got to see her warmth and her love that she has for these ladies. And if you have someone in your life who's struggling with addiction, I hope you really take Miss Avis's words to heart and kind of help take that next step for them. We're so thankful that you listened today.
Unseen Atlanta is proud to be sponsored this season by the Scott Pryor Law Group. At Scott Pryor Law, they treat every client like family. If you've been injured, their mission is simple. You focus on healing, and they'll handle the rest. Scott Pryor, a U.S. Marine and trial attorney, and his team believe in compassion, justice, and serving their community. So if you or a loved one has been injured, reach out to the Scott Pryor Law Group today. They'll walk with you every step of the way. You can learn more at scottpryorlaw.com.
Thanks for listening to Unseen Atlanta. If today's story moved you, we invite you to take the next step. Whether that's volunteering your time, donating to Atlanta Mission, or simply continuing to listen and learn, every step matters. Follow along, share this episode, and join us as we invest in Atlanta together.